guys? That's here, MADMAN. And today, we're here with a brand new MADMAN Podcast. It's me here with MADMAN and Doodle answering money.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Another week, another podcast, baby.
Yes. Now, we got a lot of topics. Some cool topics. Some spooky topics for Halloween. And some other cool stuff. So, we have no time to waste. Let's dive headfirst into the big meaty one that's been taking over our minds. The original Bayonetta English dub voice actress Hellena Taylor calls for a boycott over Bayonetta 3 because of the unfair payment she was offered to reprise her role, which was a measly $4,000 US, which that includes everything, every session and all of that stuff. Now, this has escalated a lot over the coming weeks, and there's been some BS called by Platinum, apparently, claiming that it's one of the heads of Platinum even stated that her attitude is sad and deplorable, and that it's just a load of nonsense, basically. And Bloomberg reporters have been claiming that Platinum's in the right, but not everyone's convinced. What do you guys think?
Well, it's a touchy kind of situation because it really, at this point, is just boiled down to like he say, she say situation, right? So she came out first to tell her story, and pretty much everybody took it for face value. Who would imagine her lying when doing so would be like a hit on her credibility and her reputation, right? But I mean, you got some pretty credible reporters like Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg who does a lot of these investigative reporting on cultures inside game studios and all this stuff. Like he does break a lot of information out into the public. That being said, it seems a little coincidental that he magically was able to see the paperwork that shows that they actually offered her $4,000 a session, not $4,000 total, and there would have been a minimum of 4 to 5 or 3 to 4 sessions or 4 to 5 sessions.
5 maybe.
Yeah, it basically would have boiled down. It was like between 3 to 4,000 for 4 to 5 sessions, right? So they averaged it out to she probably would have made about $15,000 to $20,000. But she's claiming that it was only $4,000 for the whole thing, which, I mean, I that's wild if that's the case. But the problem is, again, where people are kind of sitting right now is that, like, one person saying one thing, one person saying another thing, right? No one's showing us any of this, right? So no one is actually sitting there saying, yeah, here's the documentation. Look, she's lying because it shows that we offered her this, and look, she declined it, right? That would be proof, right? Right now, we just have her saying something that can damage her, and the other company is saying something to save themselves. That's where I'm sitting. I don't know.
That's true.
Well, I have to. When you think about it, she has everything to lose, right? Because there has to be some type of contract where she's not supposed to disclose this type of information. And even if she does have the proof, and she is speaking to a lawyer, like kind of, hey, you can come out and say this, but you cannot show documents that they send you. Well, maybe that could be the case also. I don't like the fact that, and I'm not saying that this is what happened, but there's a reporter saying that he did see it. But essentially, like, why are they not showing us? Why are we not seeing it if he's able to see it? So I don't feel like I'm going to just go by what he's saying, because anybody, and I'm not saying that was the case, can essentially be paid off, right? To say whatever they want to say. Even if it wasn't $4,000 for the whole thing, and it was $4,000 per session, that still doesn't sound like much for a game that
I think she said 460 million or something that the series has.
Yes, but not only like she is the game. Bayonetta is the game. Yep. Like, it's not like we have like 5 protagonists and she's just a small part in it. She is the game. So to try to play her in, like, even if it was 20,000, it's not much money for somebody who's the game, like the face of the game, the voice of the game, right? I think that this came out now instead of like when it first happened, because she was Bayonetta and they kind of just took it from her instead of figuring things out. And they did use a known name. It's the lady that plays Cortana, right?
Yeah. Jennifer Hale. She's also a Mass Effect and a bunch of other game properties. And not to mention, she's also done like a general voice work across the span. Like she's also been in Powerpuff Girls and had a bunch of other roles that you don't think about, but she's done a lot. And she's one of those voices that you might not know her name, but you probably heard of her one way or another.
She's very distinguished. She's definitely not doing this for 4,000. So that's what doesn't make any sense.
Exactly my point. Like she's not, I don't think she's gonna come cheap. So if you're willing to pay a big name for it, where was the money for her, for the original Bayonetta?
So they either, maybe they had some bad blood. You know, maybe the original lady was feeling more entitled, which nobody should blame her for that, right? Because she basically made you have the people who are making the physical game fun and all this stuff. But if she was a horrible voice actress and did a horrible job, listen, there's plenty of games that are fun, but you wouldn't like it as much, right? Yeah. She made the character.
If you don't connect with the character, if you don't like the character or however they're portraying it, you're not gonna, especially on a game like this, like I said, it's Bayonetta. It's like if Master Chief was not playwright, right? Then you're not gonna sympathize or connect with that character, and then the game doesn't mean that much to you. Bayonetta, it's a big deal. Like she has to speak a certain way and carry herself a certain way, and she essentially built that. So again, if they started her low when it comes to the payments with like Bayonetta 1, right, and you don't know what's to come of it, but now on the third game, when you guys are also making like a masquerade edition, like a collector's edition and everything, like she should be properly paid. It's a franchise at this point, and I'm sure that if she didn't ask for royalties on the first game, they just re-released a physical copy of it, which she did the voice for. So all that money that they are making from that game now, from the physical copy sales, where is her cut of that? Right? Potentially non-existent.
Now, Go ahead. Oh, yeah. Now, voice actors have it rough. Now, it's effed up because majority of voice actors and actresses barely make a living wage. But there's always like that one person that is like super successful. Like back in the day, Billy West, he was Ren and Stimpy, and he was Bugs Bunny in Space Jam and stuff like that. It got to a point where, and he was Doug in he did so many roles. It got to a point where he was being paid in the millions to do cartoons and stuff like that, or voices and stuff like that. But for majority of voice actors and actresses nowadays, they barely get paid what they should. Now this has been a problem for video games and in general and everything. The company that's the worst of them all is Crunchyroll, who literally they released a movie not too long ago or something like that, just Kaisen Zero, and one of the characters who played a prominent role was only paid $150 to do everything, and that is literally pathetic. And they even fired an English voice actor from this series Mob Psycho, because he was like, I can't keep going with this payment. And they said that he basically wanted a union in his contract, meaning that they were to screw him over or something like that, there would be a problem. And then Crunchyroll was like, no, we'll find someone else. And it's gotten really bad.
I mean, this is the thing, business is still business, right? So, the voice actors are important. They're what help you connect with your character.
Animation.
Right? Well, whatever voice actor role there is, whether it's animation or game, they're the ones who help you connect to these characters. But at the same time, there's plenty of games that have no voice, and through the animation and through the story that's being shown, you still connect, right? So they serve a place, but I think the problem is at the end of the day, you have a lot of people who make a game, right? Like hundreds to sometimes 1,000 people. Like there's a lot of people who play a part in making the game, And when you look at the entire spectrum of who's making a game, you know, the voice actor has to put in, like we were just talking about, 4 or 5 sessions, maybe 16 hours of their life, where these game developers are spending 16 hours a day, you know, making
Working
this
on the
game.
game,
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? And they're not getting royalties. They're not getting anything special above and beyond their pay, right? So I can appreciate that voice actors have it rough because they go from gig to gig if they're lucky, right? Where a game dev has a job, you know, and they work every day for, you know, that's where they stay until they get fired or they quit. So it's a different mindset, right? So if you're saying to yourself, okay, I have to pay all these people and I have to have a voice actor, you know, and so the budget is this, you know, yes, do we want to spend a lot of money and get Keanu Reeves to come do it? That's different, right? Because he's a famous person. So I know by getting a famous person, I'm going to be able to draw in more people than I would have just by having a regular person do it.
Yeah. Now, was Keanu Reeves the most qualified? But I guarantee you that it made a lot of people interested.
Why would you say that?
There were some people who said that his performance was lackluster compared to the rest of the cast, who did a really great job, supposedly.
But that's an opinion, right? You could have anybody do the voice, and somebody would say, I didn't really care for it. Right?
I don't know. I think when it comes to voice acting, ever since Aladdin with Robin Williams as Genie, it became more of a focus to get who's the bigger name to put on this movie than who would fit the role the best. Like, it kind of gets to the point where a lot of them start to sound the same. A lot of the big blockbusters are just voices that you've heard, and that makes sense business-wise.
I mean, you can say that about video games too, because you have the same people doing all these movies. The guy who voices Nathan Drake,
yeah,
he's done a ton of different games, right? What's the guy?
Troy
Baker.
You
She
can't
does
have a game
bunch.
without Troy Baker.
The lady who does Gears of War, Kate. What's her name? She's in a bunch of different. Like there's like 5 or 6 voice actors
that
who
are like
are
everything
in almost every game. Like it's crazy. So like this Bayonetta lady, I don't know what other game she's ever done.
Nothing.
But this is all she's done. And I mean, I gotta tell you, like you brought up before, like the guy who did cartoons and he did all the voices for these different shows. That shows how multi-talented he is, right? So that shows that, all right, I have a new idea for a new show. I would love to get that guy because I know he'll come up with a new voice that hasn't been heard before and it'll be great, right? So that's worth something. But if this lady is just basically doing her voice in a different way, you know, the value is different. You know, you're just doing that one thing, you know, like that, where else are you going to go?
So when it comes to Keanu Reeves, I actually thought he was perfect for this like cyberpunk, robotic, futuristic world, because Keanu Reeves is known to be more of like a cold actor. And by that, I mean that he's very robotic almost in the way that he behaves and feels. And that's why he's such a cool John Wick. But when I was saying about animation before, I was referring to like real actors. Like in animation, through the voice, you have to bring these characters to life. It does take a talent, like being able to portray that through your voice as well. So there's such a huge gap between actors that are physically acting and then the voice actors. There shouldn't be that humongous gap where, like you mentioned, $150 or like even $4,000 when we know that these actors are out there making a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but is it the job of the company who needs the work to be done to do that? I mean, let's call it what it is. If I'm in business, I'm in business to make a profit. And if I look at it and say, okay, for the voice actor, this is what I'm willing to spend in the budget. If somebody says yes, to the amount of money that I'm offering and they do a good job, then that's all I need to pay. If they do a bad job and I say I don't want this quality, let me raise the price to attract better people, that's where I am, right? So as a business, I can't argue with Crunchyroll who says, if I can get this role filled for $150, why would I spend $1,000? Why would I spend $2,000? Why would I spend $10,000?
I get that, but you have to be also fair, right? So, like the Bayonetta, the lady that played Bayonetta, I understand on the first one, she wanted to be known, right? So when you start up, you settle for a bit less than, or much less than what you deserve, right? Because you want to get your name out there. But once you are on the third game and seeing that they were willing to go with a known name, and obviously they spend a lot more money, why not nurture that relationship with someone you've been working with? And yes, give her, meet in the middle, give her a little more of what she feels she deserves.
You know why? Hold on 1 second. You know why?
Why?
Just like what I just said. Is Jennifer Hale.
She does so many voices.
But it's not even about the amount of voices she does. Her name means something. So if I spend more money on her, I'm going to attract people. There's going to be people playing this game who weren't going to play because they're fans of Jennifer Hale. Nobody is a fan of Bayonetta except for the people who like Bayonetta.
Well,
the people who are going to play it anyway.
I did say that before because they had mentioned that the sales actually, like the pre-orders, went up after this came out.
Of course. Nobody even knew.
Exactly. No
Hellena
one knew.
fucked it up.
No one knew.
I had no idea that Jennifer Hale was going to be Bayonetta.
That's wild.
Exactly. So what I was saying
do you have a conspiracy theory?
Yeah, I was saying that the people that found out that this is Cortana, if they were not going to buy the game and they found out, like, oh my gosh, it's Cortana that's going to play Bayonetta, yeah, I'll pick that up. You know, it opened the door to a lot more people knowing, and it put it out there, and now Halo fans are going to want to go and say, oh, let me see if this is any good because Cortana went to do this. So that's the other side of the coin.
When you say that, I feel like that's such a real possibility.
That's true. I mean, I think that there was actually a theory that maybe this is all a publicity stunt, and that there was a deal behind the scenes with that they Platinum wanted Hellena to do this, so it brings in more sales, which I think is kind of maybe that's stretching a bit too far, reaching too far.
I mean, maybe.
Well,
but
I feel like she wouldn't. It's so hard because there's a contract, right? So she should not have been able to come out and say all this personal stuff about the company, which makes you wonder if it is indeed true and they did plan this out. But at the same time, if it's not planned out, she's risking a lot, as you mentioned before. Yeah. This is her name. Like, who would want to work with someone that if they're not happy, and I'm not saying it wasn't unfair, and it has become a he said, she said, so you kind of have to look at everything and make up your own mind about it unless they come out with some type of proof. But like, she said everything that was happening, so regardless of contract or not, so who's gonna want to hire someone that if they're unhappy with the agreement we had before, or like if they don't like the new agreement we have now, they're gonna go out there and expose everything that they know about our contract or our company or whatever else?
I mean, honestly, you can't blame people for, like, them, Platinum, for not wanting to pay her too much. Like, Bayonetta's her big thing. If you look up what she's done, she made movies that look like bootleg Hallmark movies. But then, obviously, her biggest stuff is Bayonetta. And Bayonetta, she's done quite a bit, not crazy. Like, she did the first Bayonetta video game. She did the Bayonetta movie, Bloody Fate. She did Bayonetta 2. She voiced her in Super Smash Brothers and Smash Brothers Ultimate and stuff like that. And that's basically it.
What did they pay her to do Smash Brothers? Like, this whole thing doesn't make any sense to me.
But that's where it comes in, right? I think this was fishy to begin with because they had her, instead of like, okay, she's Bayonetta, here we go, we're doing the third game, come in, record your lines, this is what we're paying, sign the contract. They literally held auditions, and she had to audition to be Bayonetta again, right? And
that's because it took so long to make the next game. So once you get a certain age, your voice
changes.
Can start to change. So they wanted to make sure her voice didn't change.
But that's the thing. In their mind, that was an option. They didn't say, okay, we know who's going to play it, right? To them, it was kind of like, all right,
I don't know if they auditioned multiple people. I think they auditioned her again just to make sure beforehand. So they didn't want to just say, you have it. They want to say, hey, let's you're gonna have it assuming that your voice
Let's double check.
is the same. You know, maybe you started smoking and you did something crazy to your voice.
Yeah.
But
I
this,
quit smoking.
yeah, I quit. I quit yesterday. But you know, the other side effect of this, if you think about it, so this is the thing. This lady, I had no idea who she was.
Hellena?
Not a clue.
Yes,
I had
neither did
no
I.
idea who voiced Bayonetta, and frankly, never cared. I
I've
took
heard
her
of
as generic British lady number 3. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's so funny. I did too. I never wondered
had
who,
no
it
idea who it was.
because I feel, but that also shows how well she voiced Bayonetta, that I only saw her as Bayonetta. Like, I never wondered, like, oh my gosh, who's playing this voice? Who's doing this work?
well, the thing is that she doesn't do anything else. So her name, outside of that, unless you're a super fan of Bayonetta and you want to know who did the voice, right? As outside of that very small group of people, which is why they replaced her, outside of that very small group of people, we had no idea who she was. I have no idea. So this is the thing. Side effect of doing this. She comes out. I think it was like 10 million people saw this thing. Guess who has a name now?
Hellena Taylor.
Hellena Taylor. Now you know who she is. Now she's known, and guess what? Now she has a sad story. Whether it's true or not, right? It's split enough that there's enough people who believe her side of the story. This is just like #MeToo, right? You got the victim, who's the woman, and then you have the company or the guy saying, I didn't do it. Doesn't matter if you did it or not at this point. They don't want to tell the woman that she did not do it, right? Because you don't know the truth. And if you're going to have to guess, you want to guess on the side of, God forbid this is
Yes,
real. We
God
don't want to
forbid this is-
deny
exactly.
her.
That is
Versus
correct.
if it's not real, he didn't get hurt, but she did, right? So this is the same thing, right? A lot of people are going with the victim, who they believe is Hellena. The next video game that comes out that's not Bayonetta, that Hellena is the voice of,
It's
you
gonna be
damn
huge.
sure it's gonna be huge.
Yes,
that she
that
has
is
a
very
new
true.
role, and she's gonna come out and make a video saying how thankful she is of this company who's actually paying her a fair wage,
Yes.
who's doing the right thing, and so many people are gonna do it. She's playing 4D chess with you fuckers, and she knows what's up. She's like, nobody knows me. I'm about to show you who I am, baby.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't think the blowback is gonna be strong about the NDA. I think companies are gonna look at it as, there's a new voice, and it's gonna be her. And you know what? As much as British voices, in my mind, this might sound racist. It's not.
not racist, it's
It's
an
not.
accent.
But in my mind, a lot of British people who have the same dialect sound the same.
Yeah.
So there's different types of British accents.
Yes,
but
there are.
But if you have 3 people who have that same accent, I feel like it's very difficult. You know, like I
to
feel
distinguish.
like to distinguish.
Because,
I feel like they
because
sound
you didn't
similar.
grow up hearing different people
Exactly.
speaking in that tone.
But so it doesn't matter if she doesn't have a distinct voice outside of Bayonetta. Just the fact that the box is gonna say the main character voiced by Hellena Taylor. She made a fucking name for herself by doing this. I guarantee we're gonna see her in something else.
Now the boycott,
and it'll be a big deal.
The boycott may have backfired, but I think her career will be something else because of this.
Well, it didn't backfire, right? Because the boycott was just a stance to take to be known. Right? That's what she did. The reason why people go out and protest in the streets is not because they think they're going to succeed. It's to
let it be
spread
known.
awareness.
Yes.
It's to tell the world, look, this is messed up. And everybody should feel something about this.
Well, that's
and she spread that
that's
awareness
the big
of
deal,
this.
and it's bigger than just Bayonetta. It's an unfair pay across.
Yeah, mad voice actors came
That
out to
should
say the
not-
same story.
Yes, this is not okay.
Yep.
This is not okay to take advantage of a person who's trying to be and make it in this industry, saying, okay, well, essentially what you get from this job is to be exposed and potentially be picked up for something else where you could make money. That's not right. And this is the thing. I spoke before and I said this is where it should have been thought of it in the fact of the relationship. When you're working with someone, right? And that's the problem that happens like across, like, it's like people think that people have no value, right? When they're in a position of power. If they made Bayonetta 1 and they made Bayonetta 2 and they've been working with her and they feel that she's right for Bayonetta 3, why not, with the actress that has been there through it all as this game grew, why not give her more money? Why not take care of that relationship, right?
I think this part of it, I don't see a problem with. This part of it, I understand. Because, again, at the end of the day, just like I said, right, she just spread awareness. Next time she goes somewhere, she's going to get more money from somewhere else. But this is the thing, right? Like, if you think about, like, small companies, right, they're making an indie game. Like, they can't afford to hire Jennifer Hale. They can't afford to hire these big actresses, right, or actors, right? They have to go with somebody cheap because they can't do it any other way. They don't have big budgets, right? They have to pay a small amount of money to have somebody do the voice, and that does give exposure. And there is a price for exposure because guess what? If you're a voice actor in your basement and nobody hears you, you can be the best voice actor in the world. It doesn't matter. But if you go out there and you make a small game that you didn't make a lot of money from, but your performance was epic and your name gets out there, that's the stepping stones you need to get out there. That's what happens with Disney, with all those Disney kids and all those shows that they do. Hannah Montana. They don't pay those people a lot of money, but it's exposure that the kid can never get anywhere else that makes it so valuable. So it's, even though they're not paying them the millions of dollars, guess what? Ask Selena Gomez if she regrets it. Aside from their personal trauma, right? Obviously, a lot of these people are messed up.
It wasn't Selena.
But we're talking about life, right? It's success, okay? Ask Selena Gomez. Ask Demi Lovato.
Weren't Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato Barney the dinosaur or whatnot?
No, that's not. That they did them when they were younger. That's not where they got famous. Disney is where they got famous.
It's from Disney.
Hannah Montana. I mean, her father was. The point is ask these famous people who came from there, whether they, aside from personal trauma, delete whatever problems that they have now. I'm talking about just their life of being famous, making millions of dollars. Their career-wise. None of them regret taking the small pay up front to now make the money that they make, right? Have choice of career. These are all actors that turn into singers. All of them. All three of them, right? And there's many more that have done this, right?
Of course.
So,
I mean, Justin Timberlake is from the Mickey Mouse Club. Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Ryan Gosling.
And they all got paid nothing to start. Now. But guess what? If you get exposure and you're worth being exposed, you're going to benefit.
I guess that's the thing, right?
The people crying are the people who are not worth getting exposed.
If your talent is special enough to be heard and want to be used again.
Of course, because guess what? It's not just the game players who are hearing your voice. The people who make games are hearing your voice. And if you have a distinct voice, if you have a tone, if you have something special that they say, I think that they'll be good for this character in my game, then guess who's going to get a phone call? You. But if you're not good, or if you're generic British lady number 3, like I thought Hellena was, you're not going to get that phone call. And she's been making, when did the first Bayonetta come out?
2009.
Okay, so this has been 13 years since Bayonetta, since her voice was known, and she's never made another game except for Bayonetta. Nobody wanted British lady number 3, okay? But they will now, because her name has a statement at the end of it. There's an exclamation point behind that name.
I agree with that.
Because the world sees it.
Now, did she voice the movie, the animation movie that they made for Bayonetta?
Yeah, I just said that. She did Bayonetta 1, Bayonetta 2, the movie, and Smash Brothers.
Okay.
So her voice has been out there.
Yeah.
And nobody's picked it up because nobody knew who she was unless you looked it up. This has changed everything. Her career is going to be very different now because of this.
It's very sad to see how these people get paid and treated. It's like that movie with Tom Hanks, and they had this taxi driver or something from New York, and he won an Oscar for his role, but he was still broke after it because he didn't really get paid. We know Tom Hanks got a ridiculous amount of money, and obviously it is Tom Hanks, but it should be where that huge name should get paid a bit less, and let's spread a little more across the board.
But they worked hard for that. It's not like they just came out like, oh, look at me.
Yeah, they've been doing this forever. Their name got built to that level because of their prior successes. This guy was driving a taxi. He got into a movie role. I mean, that's not going to make you nobody showed up to that theater to see that guy.
Like, think about it. Tom
He
Hanks,
just happened to do a great job in that particular role. But guess what? If he was that good,
he probably
other
would've
people
been more.
would pick him to do other movies, right? Like, it was a very specific situation that he excelled at. What else you're not going to have him as the leading man in a movie. He's not that person. He just was a side character who did really well as that person.
True.
I know that the world wants to be anti-corporate, company, and spread the wealth and do all that fun stuff, right? That's great. Except that doesn't take into account how long the people who have that wealth and the companies that are that big now worked and grew to get there, right? So there is a hustle. Microsoft, when they made their company, wasn't $3 trillion, right? They grew. They made the choices. They made the investments. They made the decisions that led to the place that they are now. All these game companies, same thing. Bayonetta, the first game, you know how many first games there are that never see a sequel? Every day a new one comes out, right? Bayonetta could have been that same game. It happened to be that
that's
game...
exactly my point. That game continued. They're on the third game. Have some respect for the people that have made this game, for the actor.
But who chooses that, though? Because what about the person that animated Bayonetta?
That's true. I mean,
what about the person who made her move that way?
That's a big one. People are saying, why should I protest? Because she's a voice actress. These are the people who make this game. And watch, they should be paid less or make less. Or less than they already make because a voice actress was not happy. That's another big claim.
But we can say the same thing about a movie that was written and then they have a director for it and a producer. Why are these actors getting paid so much money?
But they're not all. They're not all. We're misconstruing the situation. It's only the big name who's getting that money.
Like, think about directors like...
generic friend number 3, who you've never seen on screen before, and this is their first time on there, they're not making that money. This is for exposure. They're getting paid for their time, a certain amount of money.
But she's not a first-time hit.
She is.
She was on... It's the third game that they were making.
But they did the numbers.
Using her as Bayonetta. That's the thing that I don't understand how you don't see.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Wait. Let's say you went ahead and you had a company. You had a company and you had a job needing to be done. And you have somebody who's doing a pretty good job. Okay? They're doing good. They're getting the job done. And you're happy with the results, right? But now you have the biggest project you ever made before. This is the most money you're investing into a project. And even though this person has been good, you have this other person on the side who's available, who has done big projects like this before, has done projects that have cost obscene amount of money and have made a name for themselves because they are very good at doing that. Would you not say, you know what? Yeah, I could invest more with this person and not know if in this bigger project the same result is going to come? Okay. Or do I invest in a place I know?
That. Had they not already try to make a deal with the same lady that played the first 2 games? I understand that, but they're talking to her and not... is based on what was said, they didn't want to give her any more money. They did have the money to give her a little more because they went and spent on this full-known name, and she wasn't going to expect to get paid that much. So they were going to go with her, but they didn't want to give her...
But you don't know what's a little more.
But see, that's the situation, and that's what I'm saying.
Let me ask you a question. What if what she wanted was the same price that they can get Jennifer Hale for?
Well, that's a whole different subject.
But see, we don't know. This is why the hype. This is why you have to think about it from the side of the company a little bit.
Well, that's what's sketchy because they are saying, and this could have been. She's saying that it was $4,000 for the whole thing, and I mean, even though it doesn't seem like much for a full-blown video game, $4,000 for what? How many sessions? Like 6 or 7?
3 to 4 4 to 5 sessions. It would have been about 14 to 15 hours total.
Okay, so...
Which is still a lot of money for $4,000. If you work for 15 hours, that's 2 days of work, 8 hours a day. People go to work, they make $15 an hour.
Okay, well, that's much more than getting paid $4,000 for the whole thing. So if that's where the proof needs to kick in, right? Because if they were indeed trying to give her, which wasn't that much more, but it's a lot more than $4,000 to make $16,000 to $20,000, then, I mean, they did go up, right?
Yeah, well, see, this is the thing. Let's say that, what they're saying is that they offered her $3,000 to $4,000 per session, 4 to 5 sessions minimum. That's the key word, minimum, because if they had to do a retake or if they added more dialogue, she would have to come back in, she would make more money, right? But let's just say that they offered her that, and it's between $15,000 and $20,000 she was going to make, right? They also claim that she wanted 6 figures because she wanted her cut of the pie. So $100,000 to do that job, right? And maybe she didn't want to do any less. She's trying to take a stand. This is where I want to be. So she told the story that there was some type of offer and she negotiated and she said, no, this is not enough. I want to make more. And then Camilla responded to her that they love her and all this other stuff. And then that's when they offered her just $4,000 for the whole thing.
Supposedly.
Okay, supposedly. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Even in that case, she is leaving out what she asked them for. She never told us.
That's a great point.
What she
That's a great
asked
point.
for.
They are saying what she was
wanted
demanding.
6 figures.
Yes.
So if Jennifer Hale costs $50,000 to do a four or five sessions,
why not go with a big name?
Why not give the big name?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm spending more than I would have paid her.
Well, that's why
but it's
this
less
has
than what she's
become
demanding.
a he said, she said situation. And I can, like at that point, if you're paying pretty much the same thing, why not go with, obviously, like I said, if people who play Halo would have not picked up this game, because this is a Nintendo game, right? And then they're like, oh my gosh, Cortana's going to be playing it. Let me go pick it up. Let me see how she does here. It brings in and that's not all that she's done, right? So she has a fan base that then it makes sense that this will bring a lot more money.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about trying to pay her $4,000, don't you think that that's not right?
I mean, the only reason... So, look, this is the thing. After this conversation we had, and I kind of came to that realization that she's actually going to benefit from this greatly. Because now her name is out there and she has some publicity behind it. I feel like when I think about this, I think it's more likely that the company did offer her more, but she was taking a stance that that wasn't enough. And then they came back with like some ridiculous counterclaim like, you know what? This is what we're willing to do now. Because what you're asking for, I can go take that money and go buy somebody else. And
pay somebody else, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're buying the talent, you're buying the services. So, yeah.
I will purchase you.
Yeah. So I can go pay somebody else for that. So I do think that there's more to the story. I do, if now that I'm kind of going through this whole thing in my mind, I think it doesn't make sense to go down. There's no way.
Well, that's what's happening
maybe the
as
first
we're
time she
speaking
made
about it,
4,000.
because it was such a, this video came out and then that video came out, and it's like as we speak, it's like an onion. We're going through the layers of what could have.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
This discussion's
for sure.
I think
a big one. I like this.
Yeah, I just want to throw something in. I don't think with Platinum they were expecting Bayonetta to be a franchise. Like they barely made Bayonetta 2. Like the first game was clearly
Nintendo saved it.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. Now, basically, the first Bayonetta was essentially, what if Devil May Cry had a female protagonist? And that was like, oh, we want, like, this is something cool to make, stuff like that. Obviously, Platinum went out to make, like, they did Vanquish, and they did, like, Wonderful 101, Nier Automata, and stuff like that. They make some fantastic games. Bayonetta 2,
they also make some horrible ones. We can't.
Yeah, Babylon's Fall.
We can't do one without the other.
Ugh.
And all the kid games they make are horrible.
I mean, they made Teenage Mutant Turtles and Legend of Korra game or something like that. But yeah. And Bayonetta 2 almost didn't happen, but Nintendo came down like Jesus from the sky and was like, I will help you. And yeah, look at that.
Reach for my hand. Sorry.
Now it's a prominent franchise.
From this water. Follow us. So now they made it a franchise. So Nintendo invested in this franchise. But this is the thing, right? They took a game that wasn't going to happen and they made it happen. And now they're saying, okay, now we're going to fund a part 3. And this part 3 needs to be a banger. Okay? We're going to invest more money but we want more, way more in return from it. So they offered this lady the part. They let her audition for it. She did great. And then they wanted to spend what they wanted to spend. That's business. It's not.
Well, that's why they're like re-releasing the first one. They're doing a collector's edition for this one.
They're doing the make as much as they can from it. Nobody can come to me as a business owner and say, hey, aside from the government regulations, right? Nobody can come to me and say, hey, listen, you should pay them even more than what's standard. Nobody can do that. It's a choice. And if I don't do that, that doesn't make me a bad company. It just makes me responsible with our money.
Now, what I do think is that the standards, maybe the standards of what they should be getting paid are too low. And that's something that's like...
That's why the union is such a big deal.
That needs to get reset. Maybe that's where the problem is. This is not a personal thing. This is a all-around thing that's happening. Now, the conclusion of this topic, I believe, is that this is a he said, she said. There has been no formal proof out that this is how it went down. And I don't think, or that's how it went down. And I think that even if the proof was out, we will never know all the facts. This is just how the information was given and how it was received from both parties with each other, right? Because you did bring up a very good point. She never said what she was asking for, right? So if it was a ridiculous amount, then why not go with a more known name if they're going to spend that kind of money anyways? I do believe that conclusion of this all is that both parties are winning.
I was literally... That's literally what I was going to say.
Winning.
I was going to say it's a win-win.
I had no idea. I knew that they had changed Bayonetta, but I didn't know who was playing Bayonetta.
I didn't even know.
This was exposed, and now everybody's like, oh, she makes this, she makes that, she makes that, she makes that. And it's all over Twitter. It's all over the place. People who wouldn't potentially buy this game are pre-ordering it.
Yeah, pre-orders are up, and she's going to get offers.
I agree that she will get offers because
I think she already has.
There are people like me
feel
that if it did go down the way that she's saying, this is injustice. This is not fair. This is not how it should play out for the people that they feel that they can take advantage of.
But business is not about being fair.
In the world, the way we see it is she is the victim of the big corporation, regardless of whether that's okay to pay her that much or not. So I think
we all are, right? Like everyone's a victim of the big corporation,
of course,
right? Like the worker at Walmart is like, you make billions of billions of dollars.
Exactly.
Why don't you give me $50 an hour instead of $15 an hour?
Nothing will be big then, right?
That's the whole point, right? They forget that the company still has to exist.
Yes,
because
and
if the company doesn't exist, it's over.
It's not just one person working and running the whole thing. There are multiple employees that have to be there all the time. And there's so much more that goes into everything.
And I love how people say, why don't they take the executive and cut their salary down and pay us all more? Well, guess what?
They built this thing.
If you had this job and in a year I said, you know what? We're going to raise you up. You've been doing such a good job. You're going to be a manager now. And then a year after that, we say, wow, you've been so good. We're going to make you a regional manager. Oh my God, you're so good. We're going to make you an executive at the company. But guess what? We're going to pay you the same as we're paying the cash register lady, because that's all that's fair.
So everybody can make the same.
Yeah. We want to make sure everybody feels like they're getting paid the same, right? Because everybody does the same quality of work. The world is caught up with the idea that people are just given things, okay? And I promise you,
that is true.
That's not the way the world works.
That is true.
These people who are executives, do me a favor, walk into any big company and be like, hey, I'm here for the executive position. Nobody's going to give it to you, okay? You have to have the value that the company sees in having you here. No company pays somebody $1 million unless they know that there's another company willing to pay them too.
Not just that, but that you'll be able to freaking multiply that by like 1,000 and bring that back in.
That you bring more value to them versus what they're being paid. That is the way business works. And the world is full of people who don't understand business and they only care about this emotional baby bullshit about, it's not fair that I'm not making a lot of money. Well, guess what?
You gotta work.
How is it fair for the people who are making a lot of money, who worked hard to get there, to be told, no, I shouldn't make this money because we have to be fair and I should be paid the same as everyone else, even though I'm better than everyone else. That makes zero sense in life.
So yeah, okay, I understand that. I think that with the Bayonetta and the Hellena Taylor and Platinum, I think there's winners on both sides. Whether you consider the boycott a failure or success, I think it's pretty obvious that both sides are getting something from it. Unlike the recent situation with the Xbox vs. CMA Chronicles, in which the whole thing is going down the drain. And CMA does not know what to do with themselves. They go to the public and ask for their opinion because they just can't handle it anymore.
So...
Wait. Smooth, very smooth transition. That was awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the thing. When I first heard about this, I thought one thing. I now have since found out that this is not actually random. This is not atypical. They actually do this. So I just was listening to Hoag's Law, and he just had a whole thing with this, and he showed it that they just did the same thing with Facebook. So Facebook was trying to buy this company Gliffy. They rejected it, but before they rejected it, they go through their motions and then they say to get public opinion. So anybody can give an opinion and they look at everything before making a decision. So this is not unique. I thought that this was a unique thing that's happening just for the Xbox because they're breaking down, but it's actually just part of their process of what they do.
This is the only time that it's been like public like this.
Well, this is the only time. Public to us because we don't care about Facebook.
Exactly.
So if we were into Facebook, we would have known.
Yes.
But that's the difference. But this whole thing is looking like I just want this to be done. Like I just want the scenario to happen. Let's just fast forward to when the purchase is complete. They're gonna get approved. The question is what are they gonna do to make it happen? So even the CMA already said that if they do see that it's a problem, then they're going to come up with solutions to that problem, and then they will talk to Microsoft about them and Activision. So the chances are, if they go through it, they might come at the end and be like, hey, listen, we think that you're going to try to hurry up and take Call of Duty out of PlayStation. So in order for this deal to go through, we want you to guarantee at least 10 years. That would be rough.
Yikes.
That would be rough. But we don't know. They can say it would have to be at least 5 more years after the agreement's over. Or there's any number of things that they can do, but that's what it looks like they're going to angle for.
Let's not turn this into the deal that PlayStation made with Bungie. Because
they bought it and everything is everywhere anyway.
Crazy. Now, we have talked about how bitter and annoyed Xbox and Microsoft should be about what PlayStation is doing.
Oh, yeah.
However, we never brought up the fact that Activision, this is such an important thing to them and such a big deal and something that they want happening. How will they feel about having their game on PlayStation after being blocked like this? Like,
dude, that's the
this
point
is
that like
rough.
Activision. This is the thing. If Microsoft doesn't buy them, they still have to put it on PlayStation because they need the money.
Yes.
They can't afford to take it away. But that being said,
damaged relationship.
I promise you, I think that they will stop as soon as that deal's over for the marketing. I think that they'll just switch to Xbox marketing and let them do it.
See, that's what I believe. If this doesn't happen, they will end their contract and inevitably Call of Duty will be Xbox exclusive regardless because I think after they're done with the contract, if they mess up, they mess up their deal, they're going to figure something out.
I don't think it's going to be exclusive. I think what's going to happen is that they'll give them the marketing, which is huge. Marketing is huge. Xbox 360 had the marketing for Call of Duty, and that's why they pretty much won that console generation.
Maybe they'll start making
PlayStation had it during the other one. What they're going to do is exclusive content, and I bet they put it in Game Pass.
That too. Oh, for
They'll
sure.
make the deal
for
and they'll
sure,
put it in
it'll
Game
go
Pass.
into Game Pass, and it will for sure. If it's not exclusive to Xbox, it will have Xbox content
I
that
think
you
Xbox
can only
is
get.
going to say to Activision, listen, that $70 billion, we're not taking that and moving it somewhere else. We're going to put it right here, and we're going to pay you this amount of money every year. We want this game in Game Pass. We want these games exclusive to us. So they're going to get the exclusives that they can, like Diablo and whatever. Like, they'll make exclusive content. They'll fund certain games. Like, hey, we want you to make a new Crash Bandicoot just for us. Hey, we want you to make a new Guitar Hero just for us. Hey, we want you to bring back Skylanders just for us. They don't understand that all of these deals can be done. Just like right now, you got IO Interactive. They make Hitman.
Yeah.
They have an exclusive deal with Microsoft to make a new game. Kojima. I mean, Kojima's like a whore. He's making a PlayStation game too. He's making Death Stranding 2 with PlayStation.
Wow.
And
That was epic.
because they just showed the picture, you know, when they got signed, Phil Spencer and Kojima had a picture apart from each other doing a thumbs up, right? So like, I'm here and like 3 feet away is Kojima, and we're looking at the camera smiling with a thumbs up. Now, like a week ago, PlayStation posted Herman Hulst, who's the head of PlayStation, not Jim Ryan, like
Not the big boy.
the studios he's the head of, not a PlayStation
With what?
Total.
2 thumbs up?
No,
Each one?
hugging.
Goodness.
Like Kojima in his arm,
Oh.
the Herman Hulst with his arm around him. They're like fucking tonguing
Like
each other.
brothers. What?
No, like lovers. So they posted that. That's because their PlayStation is showing like, listen, yeah, you got that game, but he still comes back to
We
daddy.
have other,
He
yeah.
comes back to daddy. He might go over there and play with you for a little bit, but he knows where home is. He comes back here. He's just taking your money to make some weird crap that you want to do, but he's coming to make the real game with us, which is Death Stranding. That's what they're trying to flex on and trying to put out there.
Xbox is stepdaddy. We're the real daddy.
Like, he loves us. Look, he hugs us. He doesn't need to be 6 feet from us. He thinks you got COVID. He thinks you got COVID. I'm going to stand away from you. You ain't coming next to me.
Away from me.
That's what they're trying to do. So, I mean, I think, honestly, I think this is going to change the landscape for Activision and Sony, regardless whether the deal goes through or not. Sony will be affected by this because they went too hard in the paint.
Yeah, of
because
course.
they acted like they're forgetting that Microsoft, yes, they don't want Microsoft to have them, but they're forgetting that Activision wants to get bought. They don't want to keep putting out their own money and taking these risks.
The thing is that they thought of, okay, this war is between us and Xbox, PlayStation and Xbox, but they forgot about who's getting hit in the middle. And the people getting hit in
Are the
between,
employees of Activision.
Activision, correct. So
Like even if Activision as a company doesn't do anything, what about the employees who have
Yes.
to deal with all this shit that
Exactly.
they don't like? You think they're gonna be doing their best version of PlayStation? No. They're gonna be putting shit up here, changing the code. Every PlayStation version of the game is gonna have like behind somewhere. It's gonna say Xbox is better. I wish I was on Game Pass.
That's hilarious.
Call of Duty's gonna look next gen on Xbox and look like a Roblox game on PlayStation.
It won't be that obvious, but that's what they want to do.
No. The Xbox version will be live action Lion King. PlayStation will be the animated one.
There you go. I do think PlayStation is taking it too far in blocking this. I think you have to be. I get it. It's war, and they're really afraid of this happening. And they're like, I'd rather deal with the possible repercussions and stop this deal
In their
than to
defense-
know that we're gone from this.
In
from
their
this equation.
defense, I think that they forgot to think about the middleman. I don't think they're doing this on purpose. They're literally just looking at Microsoft,
picture.
Xbox, big picture. They can take this from us. They're forgetting the middleman. They're forgetting that in between there are the people that matter, the people making the game.
Yep. That's 100%
So
true.
we'll see how that ends.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be something. I genuinely know. I don't know where it's gonna go. We just gotta keep our eyes on
I think
this.
we have until March to find out.
Ugh,
The
that's a long
CMA
time.
gave themselves until March to come up with an answer.
Well, I don't know. Let's just see how the Xbox versus CMA Chronicles comes to an end. And
I'm sure
speaking
this
of
won't be the
companies-
last time
Oh,
we talk
no,
about
for
it.
sure not. This has been an ongoing background topic for like weeks by now. But all right, so we're moving away from Xbox for now for a little bit of Atlas action because they have officially released their streaming guidelines for Persona 5 Royal due to releasing on multiple platforms yesterday. And some people are not very happy. Some people think that so basically the general thing is that you could stream a lot of the game, but you can't stream the final act or the near the end or something like that. And then basically they're like, that's BS because the game's been out for like 6 years and Royal's been out for like 2 years. And they think that that's not fair, which I think that a lot of people didn't have access to Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah, that's such a stupid thing to say because obviously PC and Xbox have not had the opportunity to play this game. There's millions and millions of people who have no idea what the ending is. So if the company is saying, listen, I can appreciate that you guys know, but I don't want you guys streaming the end because we want all these people to have a chance to figure it out. And not everybody is going to spend their lives streaming a game. A lot of people go to work and they have to play when they can. And this game is 100 hours. It's going to take 6 months.
No,
6 months for most people to beat it.
Persona 5 is 100 hours. Persona 5 Royal is 130 hours. Good luck.
Yeah. That's my only thing with this thing, man. Like I started A Plague's Tale Requiem, which is amazing.
Great.
Amazing. I started Scorn, but I stopped it when
it's Scorn.
Plague's Tale came out. Scorn is good. Scorn is really good.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
We're gonna do a gameplay stream.
Yeah, we should do that. Never Have I Ever?
No, not Never Have I Ever. We're gonna do that on MADMAN Plays. But the point is that game just came out now. Like these are all like week after week, right? Scorn came out on Friday, then Tuesday Plague's Tale came out, and then Friday, which was yesterday, Persona 5 Royal. Like there's no way, there's no feasible way to play these games.
Xbox has been doing,
and you can't start like Persona 5 Royal. I want to actually play.
Xbox has been doing backflips over it because just in Times Square in New York, they had a giant lighting of
because
Persona 5
it's a big
Royal
deal.
coming to
Because
Game
people
Pass.
don't think that game is on Xbox.
I see the picture. I saw the picture on Twitter, and it was really cool to see. Like Times Square has this gorgeous picture of Persona, and it was so cool. It was really cool. Yeah.
Xbox like maybe we'll sell 1 unit in Japan now.
No, Xbox has been killing it in Japan. So this is the thing. Like we forget that even though an old game is old, it's only old to the people who had access to it.
Yes.
There's millions of people who this is a brand new game to them, right? Like it doesn't matter if it existed before. This is the first time they had the opportunity to buy it.
True. Now this was
sorry.
This was such a smart thing for Xbox because you made a joke about it with now we're gonna sell 1 unit, but this opens up a whole other market.
Oh yeah, and of the people who
to have big games like these,
of the people who never thought it was going to happen. There's certain people who say, listen, I don't only play Persona 5 or I don't only play Persona games. I play many different games, but I love Persona and I want to be able to play it. So if I have to buy a console, I have to get a PlayStation because even though I play many different games, I have to have the ability to play Persona, and it's only been on PlayStation.
There are people like that.
So now, this is PlayStation. Xbox is now in the game. Now they have Persona 5. They're getting 3 and 4, and they're gonna get 6.
And I think
and they're all going into Game Pass number 1. But they're gonna get 6. It'll be stupid for this company, for Atlas to say, all right, here's 3, 4, 5. No,
you don't get anything.
You ain't getting no, son. You ain't getting shit. So I think that now that going forward is going to change the game for people who are saying, okay, well, I have a PlayStation 4. I want to upgrade. I really play Persona as my main game that I love, but Game Pass is pretty sexy, and this game is coming into Game Pass. Like, this is going to make a lot of decisions for people easier to go Xbox.
You keep overlooking one thing. It came to Switch, and ever since the Persona 5 in 2017 came out, people have been screaming and crying for the Switch version. There's a meme going around, a very popular meme that says Persona 5 fans finally play Persona 5 because all the people have been clamoring for it. Saw him in Smash Bros. And we're like, oh my god! So yeah,
that is true. I didn't even think about it. Joker is one of the DLC players for
Smash Brothers.
Yes, and so they didn't have the game, and it did. The last one did come out. So aside from being a big thing, weren't they upset that they were doing a big update to the game going into
the
this
Xbox version is the exclusive place where there's an upgrade.
The PS5 version is the PS4 version.
60 frames per second in high 4K, and the other version is not. It's just regular. So that's a nice way.
People are kicking and screaming about it. That why are they not?
Are you gonna go back and play it again?
Exactly.
On, man.
It's such a long game, and I mean, for it being brought into a new system, it should not be brought in its worst version. If they can do an update and upgrade the game, that's exactly how it should be delivered. We're talking about PlayStation 4, and now we're talking about a new generation, new system. So it should be upgraded before it goes in there.
Now we're actually looking at its core. Now here's the thing: Persona 5 was originally a PS3 game. For a majority of its lifetime, it's been literally made for PS3 until pretty last minute, like I think a year, maybe two beforehand. Then they confirmed the PS4 version because it took so long. They're like, might as well make it and stuff like that. And then now Persona 5 Royal is built off of 5, so it's still running on a PS3 engine. So the game should not be hard to port over to these consoles, or not too hard as people were trying to frame it. And I think the fact that they didn't bother making a next-gen PlayStation version is a little stupid. I mean, as series,
it's not stupid because it still costs money. No matter how you cut it, it costs money to do it. And those people have already played it, and they're not going to redo it. They're not going to get more sales. They're not going to get more sales because of it. It's not going to happen. Nobody's going to say, oh man, it's been upgraded. Now I'm going to get Persona 5. No, you already had the opportunity. If you wanted it, you would have bought it. You didn't buy it. It's done.
Don't understand. Like, what are we looking for? Any reason that we can throw a fit about? Like, why are we
you don't even know
having
Xbox,
a problem with
Xbox
this?
might have paid for it.
And listen.
They might have paid for the upgrade.
Exactly.
Say, hey, listen, we wanted 4K 60. Here's the money. Maybe
they pay for the game to be upgraded, but also, if I make a game and I'm about to bring it for the first time
to a new system,
I want to freaking be talked about. I want, if I can do an upgrade to this new gen and I can make it look better than when we first released the game, why would I not do that? This is going to a brand new system where it's never been before with brand new freaking gamers. I want them to see the best version that I can give them. And that's very simple to understand. Yeah. If you did not play Persona 5 way back, because the game's been out for quite a bit, right?
Roughly 5 years.
Exactly. If you haven't picked up the game for the PlayStation, I mean, what were you waiting for until it released for Xbox and Game Pass, and just buy an Xbox?
So hold on.
One day.
You can't see me, but I'm literally raising my hand because I've had a PlayStation the entire time, and
you're just like, no,
never had a desire to play it. Now it's on Xbox. I'm gonna play it. I want to play it on Xbox, not on PlayStation.
Which, I mean, it's pretty obvious to see. It's gonna be better. It's the best version right now. I mean, there's PC, but still. I mean, I do have to say though, we should probably feature that game on Duels Never Have I Ever.
Ooh,
that'd be a cool one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also
I'm down.
Yeah, I agree about the replaying thing because I beat it. I loved it. It was a fantastic game, but I will probably not rebeat it.
Well, you put 100 hours into the first one,
and I got the bad ending.
Royal, then you got Persona 5 Royal, and you played for a little while, and that was it. Because no matter how you cut it, you're just playing it again.
Such a long game.
Even if they add a little bit, you're just playing it again, and it's not. That's a lot of energy.
The game,
I do. Persona 5 was a great game, and I think that. Like, in Persona 4, I beat that one. I'm probably not going to replay. The only one I'm really excited for is 3, because 3 was an older game that was impossible to play on new consoles, but now it's finally on new consoles. So that one I'll definitely be checking out. 4 and 5, not really, because that's great as they were. I think that, it's not much warrant to go back.
Did you play 4?
But that's
oh yeah, I beat that one. It's on the PS Vita, Golden.
So you beat 4?
I beat that one, yeah.
Yeah, see, so I'd never.
Actually, that was the only reason I heard of 5, but that was when I got a PS Vita, and then I think you guys heard that it was a popular one. So you guys got it for me. I beat it. I loved it. And I was like, shoot, I got to play 5 now. And that's when I started.
But see, that's exactly my point. You're saying, okay, I already played it on the PlayStation. You're not looking to replay the game that you already played. You're going to play the one that you have not, which is Persona 3, correct? So that's exactly my point. Like, why, if your system and the one that you do have is, or you could have all the freaking systems, but if that's the only one you have and you haven't picked up the game in 5 years, why are we making a problem that they're doing an upgrade because they're coming into a new system for the new system?
Yeah.
It's not a kick down on you because you don't deserve an upgrade. But the way they're seeing it is, if you didn't pick it up, if you haven't played it, then most likely you're not going to. So why will we do an upgrade for that?
Question. Is Persona 3 coming? Is Persona 3 on PlayStation now? Like PlayStation 5 or 4? Can you play it?
It's only
right
on
now?
PS2, like literally, and PSP.
Okay.
But there's no other way.
So they're bringing it to Xbox. Are they bringing it to PlayStation 5 as well?
Yes, and 4. So
Okay, so 4 and 3 are coming to PlayStation and Xbox.
yes.
It's just 5 that was released on Xbox.
Oh, I'm sorry. 3 and 4 are coming to Xbox on Game Pass.
No, I know Xbox. I'm saying,
He's
is it
asking
also
if they're
coming
also
to PlayStation?
releasing it for PlayStation because it was for
Like-
PlayStation 2.
Yes.
Like, is it being
Oh,
released
okay,
for
I understand
PlayStation
it now.
5?
So Persona 5, the big deal about it is that it's coming to Xbox and Switch and all and PC.
Yeah,
and
I'm
stuff.
talking about 3 and 4. Dude.
Yeah,
3
so
and 4.
3 and 4 they've existed on PlayStation, but this is they're actually being introduced on new PlayStation consoles now.
Okay, but that's okay.
So-
So
Yes.
my question was:
So they're
is 3
not-
and 4 coming to PlayStation right
Yes,
now?
yeah.
PlayStation 5.
Yes.
Okay, so 3 and 4. Because I was gonna say 3 and 4. 4 was on PlayStation 3, right?
The 4 was on PlayStation 2. In 2009, it came out on PS2. I know, it was dying for failure.
PlayStation
but,
4. Persona 4.
Yep, on PS2
So
in
Persona
2009.
5 skipped PlayStation 3.
No, so here's the thing. Atlus has a thing where they have rocky history with new technology. They develop their old consoles when the new stuff's out. Persona 5 was the same situation. In 2015, it was intended to release on PS3 only, no PS4 version. But it took so long that by the time in 2017, developing only for the PS3 was stupid. So they decided to not to make a PS4 version, but they didn't want to throw away their hard work, so they released it on PS3 as well. It sold abysmally on PS3, but it sold great on PS4. So that gave them the backing to do Royal.
Okay, so they did 5 on 3 and 4.
It was still a PS3 game as
and
core.
3 was on PlayStation 2.
Yep.
Okay, so if you're a first-time PlayStation owner, then like if you switch from Xbox this generation and you bought a PlayStation 5,
Yeah.
then this is going to be your first opportunity. Actually, PlayStation 4 as well is your first opportunity to play 3 and 4.
Yes.
Yeah, so 3 and 4 is new.
See, okay, so those, I believe, if they're not
should be
doing,
upgraded for
those should be
everybody.
upgraded. Yes. See, I don't believe that they should
Not for
upgrade it
5.
for the old system, but if they're coming in with a brand new for PlayStation, if they're doing 3 and 4 for the PlayStation 5, they deserve an upgrade. It's coming
Xbox
to new,
and PlayStation should be
yes, exactly.
not just the Xbox.
Not
version.
just the Xbox.
But
I think
Persona
that
5 is fine that it's only
no,
the Xbox.
because it was already. It's been there for 5 years.
Yep.
But if they're bringing the 3 and 4 brand new to the PlayStation 5, then it does deserve an upgrade, just like the Xbox is getting an upgrade.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that the Persona 5 situation, I think that if you I think it's exciting that Persona 5 is finally on Xbox, and the fact that it's next gen just proves that it's the best version, unless you have a PC. So yeah, basically that's pretty hype. Yeah.
Now, the cool thing about Persona is that every time the protagonists, they change. They change the characters.
The characters are never the same. Think about like Assassin's Creed or Final Fantasy. They get bored easily, so after that they switch a character. And honestly, I understand why. Because Persona 5 Strikers came out on PlayStation and Switch for some reason, in PC, but not Xbox, because God forbid Xbox play a Persona game. And at
now
that
they're getting
point,
3,
well
so-
now, but that was long before. And basically, I did play it. I enjoy the combat. The game itself is really fun. The story is not as good as the original. I mean, I feel like with their games, they start and they end, and they usually it's told perfectly. They end it perfectly. And I think that Persona 5 Strikers was basically a way to add extra, even though it wasn't necessary. It's still a fun game. The villains aren't as creative or aren't as fleshed out, and some even feel like kind of carbon copies of the originals. But I still think it's still a fun game, worth your time. And it does follow the canon of the old school Persona 5, not Royal. Meaning that the new characters and scenarios added to Royal mean nothing in that game. But still, I think if you're gonna play Royal, you're still playing the best version. So you know.
Yeah, I wanna put it. I wanna try it on and put it up.
See, money, never have I ever.
No,
Now,
just part of MADMAN
this
plays.
is
I want to try it.
this
out.
is the the situation. I think because it's such a long game, they do have to bring in new characters every time to freshen up the 130 hours that you spend on the game.
That's crazy. Just knowing that it's that long, I don't like. Not that I haven't played a game that long. I never played it, so I don't know.
I think that because it's such a popular,
in for 150,
you may
130
not,
hours.
but you may be. So I think that just because it is a big game, it is coming to Game Pass, you for sure should try it, even if you don't beat the game or if you don't finish the story. But it's one of those things that gotta try it.
Yeah, and I did get through the entire game. I admit, but it does get long. By the end, I was kind of like, okay, let's wrap it up a bit. And I did get the bad ending, which I mean, the killer of it all finally reveals himself. And then
don't spoil it, bro.
Spoil it,
I didn't play it. I literally just said I'm about to play it.
Oh no, but yeah, there's a good ending, which it becomes even more and more game to it. Well, I'm not saying anything crucial, but yeah, I get it. I understand that.
All right.
So yeah, and honestly, you're gonna get it for some fire twists because in the beginning you start to get the idea, but it gets a little wild, the story near the end.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to try it, but you know, it's just there's so like when I think about that, I could play and beat 5 different games in that time. Like, is it gonna be that good that I want to? I mean, I don't know. Elden Ring. I disappeared. I disappeared into the world of Elden Ring because that was the only thing on my mind when I was, as far as gaming is concerned.
You can love it or hate it
when I played it. So maybe it'll capture me. I don't know. We'll find out.
Maybe. Now we've got some Halloweenish topics coming up, but first I wanted to note something that I think is important to mention, and I think that he created one of the greatest songs of rap of all time. Coolio, the creator of Gangsta's Paradise, unfortunately passed away at 59 years of age. He created Gangsta's Paradise, as I mentioned, one of the greatest rap songs of all time, a banger, and yeah, that's really sad.
Great song. It was from my time when it popped off. Great song, great movie attached to it. Michelle Pfeiffer in Gangsta's Paradise. It was a phenomenal song, phenomenal movie. It was the biggest thing he made. He made a few other good songs after that, but nothing ever, reached the top of Gangsta's Paradise.
Nothing as big. Yeah, it is a great song. It was a fantastic movie, and it's crazy, but he was still young, you know. 59 is
How did he die? Do we know?
Is still young.
Let me double check that one.
It's still young, but he lived though. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on.
He died of a cardiac arrest.
Oh, so he had heart failure.
And he was cremated with no funeral service.
Okay, so he so maybe he was doing something, or he just had high blood pressure or diabetes or something. Who knows? That sucks.
But he left behind some.
He has a legacy.
Yes.
Forever it'll be known. I mean, hopefully, they should. I feel like they should remake the movie.
It was a fantastic.
People make it more up to date, but use the same original song.
Yes, they need a fantastic actress to pull off what Michelle Pfeiffer was able to pull off.
I don't even know if that exists.
Exactly.
Like what current actress would you put in the league of
Michelle Pfeiffer,
best actresses of our day, like Michelle Pfeiffer,
Julia Roberts, Sandra Bullock.
Julia Roberts.
I mean, Sandra Bullock is still out, but she's not that role. Like, she's not that person.
She's not the same
you're
person
talking
anymore.
about Michelle Pfeiffer was in Scarface, dude. Like, come on.
Bruh. Okay, yeah. I don't know. My heart goes out to him in heaven. So, basically, yeah, that's really sucks. We got some Halloween stuff coming up. And the first one, this is a wild one. And accumulates to a success no one saw coming. eBay officially delists Jeffrey Dahmer costumes after the humongous success of the Netflix series Dahmer Monster: The Jeffrey Dahmer Story. So, per perspective, the show, it launched in September, and it blew all expectations. It officially became the second most popular Netflix series of all time, clocking at 800 million hours. And the third overall best streaming Netflix thing on the platform, only behind Stranger Things and Squid Game. and I don't think anyone saw how huge it became coming.
Wait, how is it second, but it's behind Stranger Things?
So
and
sorry.
Squid
So
Game?
is it sorry? So I think I skipped a tag, but it's a second English-speaking Netflix series,
okay.
recorded in
Squid
English.
Game is
Squid
technically
Game
higher, so it's
is
the
the number
third.
one, but it was in Korean, so it doesn't count in Netflix's eyes for its own list.
Well, they're
But-
just trying to
Well, no,
separate
they're
the scenario.
they're separating it because it's
So
not
it's
fair.
still third.
It's third
It's
overall, but made in the
Squid Game
English
was a
language.
beast.
It was freaking
Well,
phenomenal.
I can tell you that this
can't-
makes me want to watch the show because when there's so many people, like I look at it like it's a little too much, like a little too
Yes,
creepy.
that's
But
what
if there's
happened for
so
me as
many
well.
people who watch it, that means it can't be that bad because there's a lot of people who can't take too much. So we
I mean,
watched
that's
Squid
what
Game and
happened with
loved it.
Squid
So
Games. We heard it was
Yeah.
doing
We should
phenomenally,
watch
and
this one.
that's the reason why we watched it. And I'm glad we did. It was so good. I can't wait for the
maybe
next
we
season
should
to come
watch
out
it and do a.
in depth.
Yeah, and it's become a critical
in review.
darling. It's got, from most major critical outlets, it's gotten amazing reviews. Everyone comments on how Evan Peters as Dahmer was incredible, and he should be a lead in the Emmys and stuff like that. And supposedly it's award worthy and stuff like that. And he said it was really hard to pull off. They used the actual apartment he lived in to give it a creepy essence, so he found it very unsettling.
Jeffrey Dahmer's
Yep, his real
apartment?
apartment. They found it and they used it to film everything. Which, I mean, that would scare the shit out of me if I was in there. So yeah, the show.
I mean,
has
he's
had
not there.
controversy.
He's
yeah.
not a ghost.
Yeah, he was
He was
executed.
just a person
But yeah,
who killed people.
but yeah. So there is controversy, meaning that the relatives of people who died aren't very happy because they glorify him, almost making him like a Michael Myers, like, oh God, it's Dahmer, he's here, rather than this is the sad story of what happened. So
Well,
basically,
because they wanted to make a show out of it and not a documentary.
that's true.
If it was a documentary, that's what it
They
would be.
did release the tapes and stuff like that of the actual documentary before he was executed. They basically asked him a bunch of questions, the real one, and stuff like that. So that's there if you really want to see it. But this is the entertainment / thriller of it, basically. So yeah, I don't know. But apparently people have been tweeting how they're like, I love the show so much, I gotta dress up as him. That'll be so fire. I'm gonna scare everyone and all that. And yeah, so eBay, people have been making costumes. Like, check this out, blonde wig, glasses, and stuff like that. You can be him. And eBay is like that relates to an actual crime, and we don't want to promote that. And they delisted any mention of it. So,
Yeah, because it's real life. It's not a
This
pretend
is very
movie.
sensitive. Yes, it's not like Squid Games that we sat there, we were like, oh my gosh, this is a little bit out there. But when watching it, we know that this wasn't real, right?
Yep.
That we know of, at least. Yeah, right? So, but this is a sensitive subject. Like, this happened to real people. This is, I get it that Netflix changed it because it wasn't a,
they dramatized it.
yeah, they dramatized it. And so
It wasn't a documentary.
it wasn't a documentary, so it is sensitive to the family members and the people that this actually happened to.
Question.
Yes.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That was a true story.
That was a true story.
No one cares.
No one cares. You know why? How long ago did Dahmer do this?
From 1979 to 1991.
When did the actual Texas Chainsaw Massacre happen? The real life
I don't
version.
know. Let me see.
Look it up.
I don't know.
Because that sounds like it might have been around the same time.
Okay.
And there are costumes where you can be the guy from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
There's a video game coming out of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's literally called, and it's gonna be a Game Pass.
I did not know that was real. Like that
that one was
happened.
real.
So okay, so that's a little bit out of line too. Like,
I mean, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, but the world's not reacting over that.
Well, yes. I looked it up. This is 100% true. It was about Henley, a serial killer who participated in the abduction and murder of multiple young people. And afterwards, it was based on a variety of stories about it. So then they kind of tail it together and make a movie, and it became a horror franchise.
Okay, but when did all these things actually happen?
I can't find a date. The 50s, I think, 1950 something. Yeah, 50 years ago. I don't get it exact. It's always 50 years ago or no exact date. But the movies are from the 70s, so I can't be that too long from that.
Okay.
so you're saying that it's something also that is
It
sensitive,
could also
and
happen,
they've
but they're
taken
still doing it.
in-
They're adapting it to
yeah.
other things.
I mean, I get it. I get, like, that's.
I mean, I guess if if it happened to you, if you're part of the situation where one of your family members this happened to, and then you're walking down on Halloween and you see a Jeffrey Dahmer walking towards you, it's like that must be.
That's hard to freaking deal with. And see, there is like these documentaries, that's a whole different thing. They're telling the story of what happened. They're bringing awareness, but making something into a game that happened to people and affected people's real lives, or making it into a show and tweaking it for entertainment. Like, I don't know. I think that's like insensitive. That's very insensitive.
Yeah, but let me say something though.
Go ahead.
Tweaking it for entertainment. If you find that entertaining, that's not Netflix's fault, right?
They
didn't put like jokes in there to try to make you laugh. Like they didn't be like, hey, this is for your entertainment. Well, entertainment by definition, I'm entertained. I don't know. This is great. I love it.
It's a thriller. That's the difference between entertaining and thrilling. Because thrilling doesn't necessarily mean positive. It means, oh my God, what's gonna happen? You're like on the edge of your
that's a stressful thing. That's a scary thing.
Exactly.
Just like Michael Myers, just like Freddy Krueger, just like Jason.
But that's my point, right? It shouldn't, like, I understand it's not on Netflix, right? But like, come on, why are we buying costumes? Why are people buying costumes of this? Like, that's creepy, I feel like.
Let's call it what it is.
What the heck?
Nothing's there to stop from doing it anyway. He didn't have like a Jason mask or something like that. He just had a wig, glasses, a shirt, and pants.
I mean, that could just be the guy who works at Microsoft.
That's just Jeffrey down the street. You know what I'm saying?
Essentially.
I think there's a guy who works at our Walmart who I think looks just like him.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know him. He has that same haircut with the glasses. He's a creepy looking dude.
Jeez, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's too generic looking to be like, oh shoot. I mean, you could just be that guy on the street and you could be like, hey, what are you doing? Trying to dress up like him? Who are you talking about? I just go like this on Tuesdays. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, but people are actually making it I want to get this costume. So I don't know. I will find that creepy as can be.
Yeah, but why? Because people look at Michael Myers and Jason and Freddy Krueger and they want to dress up like that too.
I don't know.
It's a little.
But it's scary.
It's a little on Netflix's fault.
They're basically saying this Dahmer guy is scary.
Yeah,
he's scary. He is a freak of nature, and we are afraid of him. So if Jeffrey Dahmer was sitting in the room right now, you would be afraid, right?
Yeah.
So that's what they're trying to do for Halloween. They want to wear something that is gonna scare people. Right? People do all types of, costumes, that are handmade. Then they do whatever they want. It's just, look.
You could do it. I don't think
how many people did he kill?
It is insensitive.
He killed 17. He kidnapped 18, but the last one managed to escape.
Okay.
Barely.
So 18 people were killed. Let's say 5 people in this family are affected by it. Right? Because it can only go out so far, right? Like cousins of cousins of cousins. They're like, yeah. One of my cousins this happened to, right? So the moment's passed, right? So let's say 5 people, 18 people killed. That's what, 50 times 4. So 90 people in the world can possibly be affected by this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. The moment for us, this is something that happened in the past. It's part of what took place. Well, what are you gonna do? I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not, we can't sit there and cry over the possibility that this might happen. Look, if you live somewhere where one of the relatives lives, don't wear the costume there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That kind of sucked. And stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, technically anything. There was a serial killer that was a doctor who would basically go into emergency rooms and be responsible for keeping them alive and just kill them inside and then pronounce them as a mistaken death or something like that. He killed 400, which that puts him to shame a bit, which is like wild.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, he basically just confessed it in the middle of work. He was like, yeah, I kind of did that and stuff like that. And he's locked up now for life. 375 years or something like that.
Okay, but the point is that...
So he was never... Wait. He was never caught. He confessed.
He just said it out loud.
And that's how... So nobody caught on to this happening. That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, at what point do you not fucking let him do it?
Yeah, Netflix released a movie or something.
The success rate is like, bro... like you're supposed to be good at this. Like why are you still? Why are we like, hey, we got somebody great for you. Everybody he touches is dead, but you might win. You'll
be fine.
You might win the lottery. Like that makes no sense
crazy.
to me. That makes no sense to me.
True story. Netflix is making a movie on him. Of course,
it's probably some bootlegged ass town, and he was the only doctor.
I didn't see it coming. All right, yeah. So we got another Halloweenish one. It's about a Netflix also remaking a Halloween series about a serial killer, and it's about a fictional one, of course. But Netflix has found a writer for the live-action Death Note series. Now, Death Note is about a young boy who's in like high school or something like that. He gets good grades. He's a super smart guy, the leader of our future, until he finds a book labeled the Death Note. And basically what that does is that if you can write the full name of a person, then you'll have a shadowy demon come and murder them for you and stuff like that. He starts
off. Is this a anime?
It is, but it's one that's gotten massive critical acclaim, and Netflix is basically like, hey, we want to take a crack at it. Now, they've already done it before with a live-action movie that was horrible, supposedly, and was, like, abysmal. Not mentioned whitewashing, but the story itself was botched up. The acting was mostly poor, apart from William Dafoe giving a really good performance as, like, one of the killers or something like that. But basically, he just keeps killing people, and at first it was sort of like, I'm just gonna kill all the bad people, until he realizes how much power he has, and he starts going crazy, killing people who just look at him the wrong way, and basically he's become like a fucking psycho. And then he has, like, Detective L, who's charged on the case of actually finding this man. I mean, like, we gotta put an end to this fucking guy. And he goes by codename L, which made him qualify because no one knows his real name. And basically, it's cat and mouse. And he's trying to find him while he keeps killing. And he has to find...
Wait, I'm sorry. Are you talking about Death Note, or are you talking about another movie?
Death Note.
Okay.
So, yeah. And now, this is supposedly going to be a more faithful one, apparently. And also, like, this basically... Okay. So, yeah. Shoot, I lost my train of thought for a second. So Netflix found a writer for it, and now they're taking another crack at it.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll be good.
All right.
Well, see, this one, it seems like, so they made the movie before. It seems like a movie that is going to have special effects because you write the name and then they get, like, chased down or whatever. So I think they need Netflix money to bring this to life. You know?
Do they have a trailer yet?
No. I mean, if you now basically all you could go by is the movie, which I heard was really bad. And the Death Note has been, even if you're not big on anime, it's still been given massive praise by a bunch of different big people or bigger celebrities. And honestly, and also the most relevant thing right now going on for it is that The Simpsons is doing a Treehouse of Horror, but they're parodying Death Note. And where Bart Simpson gets a Death Note and like that, and he just does a bunch of ridiculous with it and stuff like that. So yeah, basically, I'm looking forward to this. I mean, it's a Halloweenish sort of thing. It's about a serial killer.
I think for me, like things like this, I'm much more, because it's such an unknown to me that it doesn't really matter until I see a trailer for it. Like I don't like watching trailers if it's things that I know and I'm excited for. But like for unknown stuff, like I gotta see it for it to matter. Aside from that, it's just words. Like Death Note, cool. I mean, I get it. I'm sure it's big.
I mean, you did say that. Wait, isn't that an anime? You must have heard of it before.
Well, it's just the idea of it sounds like an anime, and the name of it sounds like an anime. Like I feel like regular movies, they don't just call it Death Note. Like they would try to be clever. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Where I feel like anime stuff can be a little on the nose.
Yeah, Spider-Man. Yeah. He's a spider and he's a man. Like,
that's comic stuff, right? Which is American anime, right?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, so it's all on the nose, right?
Actually,
that's why it's the same concept. That's what I'm saying. So like, all of that stuff is very simple idea, right? Yeah. They're not trying to get complicated.
We kind of look at each other a lot. Like Japan kind of took from us with Your Name being such a huge hit. It was a movie, Lake House or something on the Lake House or whatnot. Oh, yes. That was literally a ripoff of the Lake House, and no one cares.
With Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves. Remember?
Yeah. Well, the anime is the one that blew up. Your Name was long after. Yeah, and that one came out.
Yeah, I'm not saying. I'm just saying that nobody cares that it was a ripoff because it was an anime. It wasn't a live action movie. They didn't make a like for like. They just took a story. All these stories are just taken from other stories. I'm sure if you look at the Lake House, that's a ripoff of some other movie that came before it who had a slightly different idea. We also take from
Japan because there was a movie called Black Swan that came out. I don't know if you ever heard of that one. the shadow that follows her. It's something that was based on a movie called Perfect Blue, which was some people are saying should be a lawsuit because they're nearly identical stories, just Americanized.
But if you go back in history, every movie, there's so few actually innovative, brand new ideas. So few. They're just spins on existing ideas. They all do it. They do it with a twist, right? That's what they do. So that doesn't matter. That's every song, every movie, every video game. It's all from the people who laid. Somebody was the first person, but that is generally not the person that gets the credit for it.
The whole line of history repeats itself. It's not just about actual history, right? We go back, we look at things when it comes to art and music, fashion, everything. And remember, bell bottoms came back, right?
That's all happens in cycles.
It all goes in a cycle.
People are still people. The person who was born in 1954 versus the person who's born today, we're all the same people. We're just exposed to different things, but that doesn't change what we desire inside. And just like somebody came up with the first idea of the bell bottom, is the same way somebody woke up today, saw some old movie with bell bottoms in it, is like, oh my god, that's awesome, let's bring that back, right? I mean, that's just the way it works. It's all a cycle.
I get it. I mean, Netflix has been the king of streaming in all of these basically topics lately. We have one more from Netflix, which, I mean, it's Halloweenish in the sense that it's scary. It's not a Halloween series. However, you probably have heard of it. It's a scary series for sure, but it still kind of falls into Halloweenish territory. The new Netflix series, The Watcher, becomes the #1 Netflix series in the nation. And I've heard that Doodle has seen a preview for herself.
Yes, I have. Okay, so I saw the first preview and I was like, what is this? We saw it together.
Yep.
And we were like, what is this? I don't even get it, right? So they released a second preview. I guess they didn't really... they rushed it up and they didn't have the exact preview. And then I saw the preview. It was something else. Okay? It was something else. There was definitely more to it. I was freaking freaked out.
I mean, it seems freaky, and I'm intrigued. I don't know where I was going with
it. It's a new show, so I don't want to say much, and I can't wait for you guys to see the preview to see if you feel the same way I did. And then we'll talk more in depth about it or see how you guys feel about it. And then we'll see what happens. We'll see what. But I don't want to give out too much because it's literally a brand new show on Netflix.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to mention that at least, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see and check it out ourselves. So there's this something that, honestly, a channel called The Film Theorist, which is a humongously popular YouTube channel, had predicted this. And I didn't know if it was true. But it appears that the more information we get, the more true it seems. Supposedly, the Super Mario Bros. Movie will be a musical and feature multiple musical numbers, apparently starring Toad and Bowser. Now, Jack Black has confirmed that Bowser has a very musical side to him, very heavy metal rock. And Keegan-Michael Key has literally confirmed straight up that Toad will indeed have a song, and he improvised a song for the movie himself. And he said it was a blast to make. So, do you still believe this, or is it just a little malarkey?
Well, first I heard about it, and I'm like, okay, I laughed it off. I'm like, that's a load of nonsense. It's not a musical. And then I heard it again, and I had the same reaction. Now, I do know that Jack Black, he can sing, and a lot of the characters, as you have brought up to me, think about it, a lot of these characters have musical backgrounds. So I don't know why they will make it a musical. I don't understand it. I don't know how I feel about that, because if it's a great song or great songs, it could be amazing because you will run around kind of singing the songs, when you hear that catchy song and then you can't stop singing it, or it's always on your mind. But it could be a bad song and it can ruin the movie.
Sometimes you don't need to be a musical to have a banging song. Remember the Lego movie, Everything's Awesome? That was a big one.
That was fantastic. That song was so catchy. Everything is awesome. Yeah, that was so good. Now, was that at the end? I don't remember exactly. Was that like at the beginning or end of the movie, or was that through the movie?
It was at the beginning of the movie. They had little peeks of it in, like, I think in the middle or something like that. But basically, it was mainly in the beginning. That was a big number, and it was in the credits of the ending.
Okay, so that's the right way to make a song for a movie, because that was super catchy. I liked it a lot, and I remember like singing it around. So it's just risky, because just like it was risky though to make the Super Mario movie, right? I felt like, oh my gosh, this could be really bad, or it would be perfect. And I was really hoping for it to be perfect, right? Now, the same thing goes. This is another huge risk to have songs in it and potentially make it, like they're saying, a musical, right? So now it has everything to do with it being the right song, being sang properly. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it'll help it stick out, that's for sure. Because I think Mario movie looks great as it is already. But considering the fact that it's a musical, even if it's not great, it'll still make it much more memorable than it ever would have been.
Yes, but we don't want to remember it in a bad way. If the song or the music they're not right, then that's how we're going to remember the Mario Brothers movie, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, now the Illumination has had they haven't made straight up musicals. They're just musicals. I mean, they made Sing, which I mean that's just a bunch of songs that exist. But they have had they did their toes into making songs. If you remember the Lorax movie, How Bad Can I Possibly Be? That was actually a pretty good song.
Question.
So,
are the songs in Mario original?
Original, yes. Keegan-Michael Key straight up said that he had improvised a song for Toad.
Can I tell you something?
And it was a blast to make.
What you just said right now makes it where I think it's going to be good. Because what did Keegan-Michael Key do that we loved a lot? Schmigadoon, whatever the name of that show was.
Schmigadoon, yes.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, it was on Apple
right?
TV.
We like that a lot.
Yes, he can sing very
really
well. And my question has nothing to do with their ability to sing. I think Jack Black is a freaking phenomenal, not just singer, performer. So if anybody can commit to like bringing down the house, it's Jack Black, right?
Agreed.
So I think they're both. Are they the only ones that are like having a song, or?
No, we don't know, but they're the two that are confirmed at this point. Which I mean, Illumination didn't say yes, it's happening, or Nintendo. But I mean, if it's coming from the actors. Yeah, like Sebastian, even long before the Mario movie was ever brought up publicly like that, he did say that he just came back from a recording of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and he was Sebastian. Wow, I'm sorry, he was Foreman Spike in the movie.
Who's Sebastian?
Sebastian, the stand-up comedian. He's playing as Foreman Spike in the movie.
I don't know who Foreman Spike is.
Foreman Spike is he's an obscure character. He's technically canon to his backstory. He was in a game NES game called Wrecking Crew.
He's canon, but not the Penguins.
No, Wrecking Crew. I never said they weren't canon.
The Penguin is not. It's not canon.
No, they are canon. They just had only one canon appearance in Mario 64.
There was no reason to argue
Mario
that.
Kart, they weren't canon in there.
That was fun.
Mario Kart's not canon. The sports games are canon.
But he already exists, so he's canon. That's like saying Mario's not canon because he's in Mario Kart.
What? I never said he wasn't canon. I just said his only canon appearance was in Mario 64. Like how Daisy's only canon appearance was in Super Mario Land on the Game Boy.
Okay, go back.
Party games.
So Spike, Foreman Spike.
Foreman Spike. Yeah, he's just his boss. That's a jerk. So yeah,
cool.
That's pretty fire. You ask me. Fire. So let's see over here.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see that
I'm
movie.
so excited for it. Like, it could be like the songs could be really bad. I don't think so. I hope not. Just like I was hoping the movie would be good, and I saw the freaking preview, and I'm like, I can't wait to see it. I mean, I don't think they're gonna put up a song if they don't think it's good enough. But
as long as Chris Pratt doesn't sing, we're good.
Exactly.
Jeez.
It can't be like, listen, it can't be like Trolls. Remember that movie?
Oh my god.
Oh goodness, not that kind of music.
No.
But if we're talking about like a Frozen or
even Schmigadoon,
yes,
whatever that show was, that
let's
was
get
great.
Lin-Manuel on the phone and let's have him look over the songs and see
Let's just remake Hamilton again.
Oh my god.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Let's make it live action in the actual theater, like actual movie, not the Broadway play.
We don't talk about Luigi.
That's right.
I don't know.
That's dope.
That's like we ran out of ideas. Hamilton again in theaters, but yeah, I don't know. Hamilton 2, the sequel. All right. Jeez, I'm really bad at carrying jokes sometimes. Let's see. So that's a big one. That's a big boy. Let's check this one out. Gotham Knights on consoles will only run at 30 frames per second. Talk about a slap in the face.
Yeah, that's a little
Stupid.
I was gonna say disheartening. I feel like they're going to feel the pressure of this, and I feel like they're gonna probably figure out a way to do a performance mode. A lot of games have released in the past without a performance mode, and then were updated to have a performance mode. I would say the most disheartening thing about this all is, like, obviously this has been a huge topic. If you go online right now, you'll see tons of comparisons between this game, which was released in 2022, and Arkham Knight, which was released in 2015. And Arkham Knight looks better. The atmosphere is so much better. Like, everything about it is so much better.
Rocksteady is a chef's kiss.
So, but you know what's messed up? Besides that is, I know it's sad that it's going to be 30 frames per second because we have next gen consoles. The minimum should be 60. But one of the people who kind of spun this out of control and kind of really lit a fire on it was actually an employee of Rocksteady.
No.
Who went and was basically like, I wish you, he made this big Twitter post, like the whole big thread, basically saying like, I wish you guys will understand how difficult it is to make a 60 frames per second game. 60 frames per second means that you have 16.6 milliseconds to render every single frame. Well, when you want nice lighting, well, that's 4 frames right there, 4 milliseconds. You want good shadows, that's another 4. That's 8 just on lights and shadows. And then you have animation, and you have this, and like you have this, and it's like it's really hard to make that happen. And he just kept going, and then he eventually have to like put out another post that was like written out like a picture of a post because he had to write a whole bunch, like basically saying that he's his intent wasn't for this to go crazy because people were losing their minds over this thing now.
Well, like coming at
him and everybody and the whole team over there. It's great because this is the thing. He went ahead and he said it's Xbox Series S fault. He's saying that the problem is Microsoft is forcing people to make their games for both the Series X and the Series S, not just for the Series X. So, and he literally said like they're stuck with that potato.
Wow.
Like, this is the thing. Wow. And this is the thing that, like, even I messaged him or something like that because I was so like, what the why did you do that? Like, he took too far. I don't know if I messaged him or retweeted or something, but
talk about biting the hand.
Like, dude, are you serious? Are you seriously gonna say that the Xbox Series S is holding you back when your game right now is meant on like that game, the Gotham Knights, is on PC and it's capable of running on lower hardware specs than the Series S? Like, you could literally, it runs on lower spec, and you're telling me that you can't do it? How about all the games on Series S that run at 120 frames per second? That run at 60 frames per second. Let's call it what it is. And I'm disappointed in this guy because he works for Rocksteady. Maybe he knows somebody over there. Maybe he's just trying to stick up for them or something like that. But Rocksteady made Arkham Knight in 2015. 7 years ago, they made it on Xbox One and PS4, and that game looks better. It didn't run great because the power wasn't there. That is consistent between both games. They both don't run great on their original hardware, but looks better, plays better, graphics are way better, the atmosphere, the world is way better. There's so much more animations, the crowd, there's so more enemies roaming the streets. Like, it's night and day. Like, it's great destruction. When you were in the tank and when you were in the Batmobile, you hit anything and it would destroy it. It wouldn't just get stuck anywhere. Like, it was so far ahead of its time. And this was in 2015.
Wow.
And this game is next gen only. They dropped the old games. I mean, the old systems. But he knows very well that it's possible. And what he's saying is, yeah, it's hard. Okay, well, game development is hard, right? But we're not in this to see what, if it's a big budget game, we're not looking to see if they can, hopefully they'll figure it out. No, if we assume that if you're giving this studio a crap ton of money and a crap ton of time, because there hasn't been a Batman game since Arkham Knight, which was in 2015. There's 7 years, okay? So there hasn't been one in that time. You give them the time, you give them the money, and this is the best they came up with these. I mean, listen, the story's good. A lot of people like the story. The game is okay. Like, people are okay with the game, but it's disappointment that's the problem. Because people had high hopes for it.
They used
Series S as a scapegoat.
Series S, yes, as a reason. They didn't know what to say, and they put it on that. There are many games that are made for both systems.
Yep.
There are many games.
Series S and Series X.
Exactly. Also for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, right?
Dude, Cyberpunk runs at 60 frames per second on Series S now.
What are we talking about here? This is ridiculous. What you're essentially saying is that you're not good enough to figure out how to make it work, right? Because that's what I'm hearing from there. If I can see all these other companies make games that run on the Switch, that run on Xbox S, Xbox X, that run on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, if we have companies making these games without a problem, obviously I'm not saying that more work doesn't go into it, but if you can't figure out how to make that run smoothly, that's your problem.
That's a you problem.
You're not good enough. Your team is not good enough to make it run well, especially if a game that was made in 2015 looks the same, if not better than the one that you just made.
Well, it's not dumb. It's not dumb. Different teams. So
it's different team.
Rocksteady. Well, no, Rocksteady
is the Arkham series, or majority of it.
Rocksteady is the big boys. The other team that just made this is they're the B team. They made Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
So Arkham Origin was a game that was released after the first two. First two Arkham games,
Asylum City,
and Arkham City, and then Origin, and then Night. Right. So Origins was basically they just took the Arkham games that were already out and just kind of made their own story, did a prequel or whatever, and similar feel because it was pretty much very in line, but it was different and it was good. But it wasn't. Nobody confused it for Rocksteady quality. Everybody was like, "This is good, but not Rocksteady good." Right. So this one that just came out is they haven't released a game since Arkham Origins to now.
Wow.
Okay, they haven't released a game since then. Okay, and this is what they came out with, and this is just cementing the fact that they are a B team. They don't deserve these budgets. They don't deserve these times. They don't deserve these properties. They should be making smaller games that the world is not like chomping on the bit for. This is superhero stuff. I want to see these people.
We're talking about a game that the collector's edition is $300.
It's dope though.
It is dope.
It is dope. The statue looks fire.
But don't take accountability for your mess up and fix it.
Yep.
Just like Cyberpunk did. They went ahead, they fixed it. Fix your issues and don't start pointing fingers about what held you back. I'm sure you were paid plenty of money and you were happy taking that money to make that game. So fix it. You're the one who's not good enough to be making these type of games then. And if you are not, then you shouldn't be taking the money to make them.
Yeah, just like how Insomniac's the king of Spider-Man games, Rocksteady is the unofficial king of Batman games. They don't want to
do Batman anymore.
Yeah, they're doing Suicide Squad now.
Suicide
Squad kills the Justice
I don't know how that's going to come out.
Hopefully it's good.
But, so this is the thing. The reality of what took place this game was announced for new gen systems and old gen system. Okay, it was going to come out on Xbox One. It was going to come out in PlayStation 4. They just recently, a couple months ago or whatever, they dropped the old gen systems. Why did they do that?
They couldn't do it.
Simple. They didn't make this game for next gen systems. They made it for the old consoles, but the console couldn't hold its performance because the new gen system, the new ones, Xbox Series X, that is so much more powerful. PlayStation 5, so much more powerful. It can't even keep a steady 30 frames per second. Okay, they're dropping down to the 20 frames. Like we're talking, we want 60.
That's
they
ridiculous.
could barely keep 30. Okay, so all they did was they saw that they were going to do a Cyberpunk. Okay, the next gen systems was going to be the only systems capable of even playing this thing at any respectable frame rate, 20 to 30 frames. The Xbox One and PlayStation 4, they couldn't get it past the teens. You know what I'm saying? Like the frame rate was going to be horrendous. So that's why they dropped it. They didn't cater the game to next gen. They were just using the power of next gen to just as a handicap to push the game that they made into decent performance. Because the textures are not next gen. They put ray tracing in there, but even the ray tracing, it's not, people are not like blown away. They still don't have the characters blending into the environment a lot of times. Anytime there isn't indirect lighting in the game, that's like, you know, a spotlighting or whatever, where they're actually using the lighting engine, the characters glow. So if it's in the dark, the character looks like he's glowing outside of the dark. Like he's not, you don't see shadow on him. He's just, you can see him kind of just very easily, right? Until they get into places where like fire and stuff is, where there's light coming out. Excuse me. Then the shadows and stuff gets put on them. So like there's so many things that are not great about the way this game looks. And at the end of the day, like it's not taking advantage of the power. They're just using the power to get them over the hurdle right now. I feel like they're going to do like Cyberpunk because it's too big of a game. Like people are pissed. Okay, it's too big of a game. I think they're going to.
I would be too.
To fix it.
Like this. First of all, they need to fix it. If not, they need to start handing that money back to the people that trust it and went and pre-ordered this game. Just like they did with Cyberpunk. Just like we spoke about Bayonetta, and there are so many people that they have to pay money to that are putting in hours of work. I want to see the hours of work put into this game.
Yep.
You're not here to collect a paycheck and we're all just gonna sit there like dummies and buy it, and you want to put it on the Xbox Series S and we're gonna be like, oh, okay, buddy, well, that's their fault. No. This was a game you made. We gave you our money. Give us what we deserve or we're not gonna shut up.
Dang.
Yep.
Dang.
Exactly what it is.
That's so fire.
They better fix it, man. That's all I'm saying.
I really hope so. Yeah, I really, 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 really hope so. Little news bite. This is too cute. Like, I think that honestly, this is just something so neat. I don't know if it's gonna be really a topic at all, but it's still something cool to mention. A new piece of lost media was found in the form of a SpongeBob SquarePants Got Milk ad from 2001. It aired once on Nickelodeon, and since then it has been deemed lost media for over 20 years until a fan finally uncovered it and put it on YouTube on October 15th, 2022. Now, you can watch it in all its glory. Doesn't look too great, but still, it's the best it can do. So the episode is literally like a mini episode of SpongeBob revolving around chocolate milk. And it's incredibly charming. It's where SpongeBob and Patrick want to have chocolate milk. They go in the fridge, thank God we got milk and stuff like that. And SpongeBob wants to drink it, but he keeps soaking it in because he's a sponge and stuff like that. And Patrick kind of makes fun of him for it. It's very charming, and I thought this was just cool to mention.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. SpongeBob has been around for so long. It's a classic. I mean, come on. Like, who can keep up for that many seasons and still? It's kind of like I mean, I don't know.
Like the Simpsons.
Like the Simpsons. Have they been around for
insane amount of time?
Yeah, so
30 plus years.
Oh wow. See, so it's very fascinating. It's pretty fantastic to see something last that long and still like have the same power that it had when it first started, right? To be able to maintain that type of publicity, right? We all love SpongeBob, don't we?
SpongeBob is still good.
That's my sponge, bro.
It's still good.
Now, it's really cool that this was found and put up again. And kind of super cute. So, it's pretty dope.
Yeah. I think it's pretty sick if you ask me. Like, sick in a cool way.
Now, by the way, we did, this is on a side note too, something small. We did try the Ghost Whopper.
Oh, we did?
Oh, yeah,
yes.
we did.
So,
We did.
what did you guys think?
It tasted really good. I enjoyed it. It tasted really good. It was spicy, which that's actually something. It didn't burn my mouth right away, but near the end, I was like, goosh, I could use some milk right now. So, you know.
I got milk.
It's got an orange bun, which is Halloweenish colors. Ooh, and black sesame seeds, poppy seeds. I'm probably wrong, but you know. So it's a good burger overall. Is it amazing? No, but it still puts you in a Halloween mood. Ooh, so that's good.
Well,
What did you think, C-Money?
So we basically all we cut one up because we didn't know the commitment level of how good this thing was going to be, and then I tried it and I took that one bite, and for the first second it was like, okay, this is
That's
not horrible, and then second number 2 was death, and I just shut it down and I moved on. And it was spicy as all hell, and I don't think the flavor was there to back it up. I'm not a fan of spicy stuff, but I am a fan of great tasting food.
Ooh.
And at Arby's, there is a barbecue, buffalo
Yes.
buffalo chicken wrap that is spicy as all hell for me. Like, I sweat while I eat it. But it's so...
No.
Go ahead.
You sweat, tears
Cry,
falling down the
sniffles
face,
through the nose,
face completely
sweating.
red.
Yeah.
It is something
But
else.
I keep eating it because it tastes so good, right? So I go through the pain because it tastes so good. Whereas this thing, I took a bite and I was like, it doesn't really taste that good for me to sit here and
Suffer.
Like,
Suffer.
it's just,
For an agonizing
yeah,
pain.
it wasn't worth it.
So first of all, I have to give them props.
And Purple Berry also tasted it.
Yeah,
and
she stopped right away
stopped
too.
as well. So
First off, I give them props because it did look as advertised. It was very pretty. The bun was orange, as Madman said. It had the black sesame seeds on it. It looked just like the picture did. I think that there were like grind up ghost peppers in the bun because I wish I had done it before and just grabbed a piece of the bun and tasted it. As I was eating it, I was like, oh shoot, let me see what they put in this bun and if the bun itself is actually spicy. So I gave it a second, and then while my mouth wasn't completely burning, I tried a piece, and it was kind of like, obviously, that ghost pepper that kind of creeps up on you. So it did have where it kind of felt like, oh, no, this is fine. Maybe there's nothing there, and then it kind of hits you a bit, and you're like, oh, no, there's this spice. So I feel like the bun itself was spicy as well. It was beautifully put together. I love the bacon in there. It was very spicy, but it was delicious. I did eat pretty much a full Whopper, and it was very spicy, but I still wanted more, kind of like that Arby's,
Arby's for me.
The Arby's wrap, which I completely love. It's delicious too. The only difference I see, but when we have that Arby's wrap, I don't end up like you. Like, you look at me and you're like, oh, well, where's the
tears?
Sweat? Yeah.
Where's the pain?
I just say like, oh, that was spicy, but I'm not sitting there like, uncomfortable about it. But I would eat that Whopper. It was delicious. It is spicy. You do take a bite and you're like, that's not so bad. And then boom, it hits you. By the time you're done, you're like, oof, that was hot. But it's really good. It was well put together.
Oh, yeah.
So I think as a whole, we're split decision, right? You two
Liked
tend
it.
to like it. Me
other
and
two.
Purple Berry. Not
so
fans.
much.
Not fans. No.
Yeah. All right. I think that this was a crazy podcast. Pretty wild, pretty packed and fun, and I think it was wrapped with a nice little bow. So we're gonna tie it up here and call this a close.
Yes, I had an awesome time.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah, all
Good
right.
stuff, guys.
So, if you guys like this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Mario Kart Madman, out!